theyeshiva.net.
We're learning the Chayav Einish l'besumah b'purya, and we're up to page 196. Okay, so Chayav Einish l'besumah b'purya, the 196, or Tzadik Ches column 4, or 196 column 2. V'hina Yisrael zachu l'matan Torah. So after the long explanation, which I'm not going to repeat today, because we won't move on, about Torah being the mashal hakadmoini, with the whole arichis, both in terms of every level being a mashal for yet a deeper level, and then ultimately the whole Hokhmah HaTorah being a mashal for that which is beyond Hokhmah, for kadmoina shalaylam, for the undefined reality of infinity, Ein Sof itself. The Balatanya continues and answering the two questions, the big questions of Ashrei Misha Bolakan v'Talmudei B'Yadei. What does the Talmudei B'Yadei, the halachis in Gashmius, how does that create a difference in terms of Gan Eden, which is all about experiencing the divine? And if you don't understand the mashal nimshal idea, it's very hard to understand that. When you understand the mashal nimshal idea, and it's a ladder, and only through the mashal you reach the nimshal, so that's the Talmudei B'Yadei. Even though Gan Eden is not a physical place, it's a place of experiencing divinity. But there's not one halacha, not one sugya, not one pilpul, not one inyan, even if it deals with completely a physical matter, that is not also a mashal, essentially a reflection of a nimshal, which is yet a reflection of a deeper nimshal, which ultimately is a mirror of Ein Sof. Which, if you really got what I said right now, you would be more excited, but fine, I understand. But we're used to words that are empty, so I got it.
There's no failure to hold the excitement.
It was just a feeling. Next, we move on. It's fine. So after, and explaining, therefore, the difference between the relativity that seems so strange, that one Jew learns a few minutes a day and is mekayim the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, and another Jew, we say, if he has a moment to learn but doesn't, Dvar Hashem Baza, he kores tikares. After this whole beer, the Balatanya continues. V'hina Yisrael zachu l'matan Torah ayidei Yisurim degalas Mitzrayim b'chaymer u'b'leveina. Now the experience of Matan Torah didn't happen in a vacuum. The Jews merited, they experienced Matan Torah, there was an introduction. And that was the pain, the Yisurim, of the exile in Egypt, b'chaymer u'b'leveina, which, as the pasuk says, was defined by mortar and bricks. Number one, v'higdimu nasa l'nishma. There was another introduction internally. The Yisurim of Galus Mitzrayim was the environment they were in for a long time. And then internally, as the pasuk says in Mishpatim, they said, Nasa, we will do and we will hear. These two introductions were not random. Ki'i efshali is gili vam shachameir in seif baruchu ela b'makim sheyesh b'chinas bittle dafke. This is a line that by now, if you learn a little the bottom of the Balatanya, you know it's the Yesod HaYesodus. There could never be a revelation and a hamshacha from pure infinity, from the light of infinity, blessed be He, the light of the infinite one, blessed be He, only in a place that is devoid of the sense of I that's separate. Or in one word, that's called bittle. V'zeu inyan hagdamas nasa l'nishma. In parentheses, the lekach eirin sev baruch hu shoyre b'chachma dafka lefi shibchinas bittle kayach makanad. This comes back to what we said earlier. Havaya b'chachma. that Ein Sof dwells, it's manifested in Hokhmah, even though Hokhmah is one of the spheres, so it's only a name. That was the question. The answer is yes, but the definition of Hokhmah is bittle. The definition of the other spheres is identity. The definition of Hokhmah is the bittle of identity. It's called Koyach Ma, Hokhmah. Ches, Chaf, Mem, Hey. Ches, Chaf is, of course, the words Koyach, and Mem, Hey is Ma. The Koyach of what? I was just repeating from a previous year 2 days ago. He said that l'chayra, why is Ein Sof, why is Torah Mashal HaKadmaini? Let's say it's Chokhmah Datzilas, but it's Chokhmah. Ein Sof is beyond Chokhmah. The Zohar says all the Sfidas are called names. Ziraza D'Shma Kadisha. Definition of a name is the external concretization of the self that's relatable to others. You remember? Medaf Chazere, am Chazere nicht. Das ist nicht entertainment. Rabbi said this is not entertainment.
The Ein Sof is represented in the crown of the unified of the united represents Hokhmah.
So that's why he says that that's all true, and yet we say that Torah is a mashal for kadmoiner shalaylam. How can Chokhmah be a mashal for that which is undefined? The answer is because the definition of Chokhmah is bittle. So even though Chokhmah is also a self, and if it's a self, how can there be the Gilui of Ein Sof there? Ein Sof means it's all oneness, infinity. The challenge to Ein Sof is not ego or repulsiveness or sin. That's all. It's back to the Eitz Hadas, what we learned at the end of the Maim of Leisiyah Meshakela, right? It's the hergish, what I need. It's even the goodness, the Torah. Chava said, this is good. But the definition of Chokhmah is Koyach Ma, the Koyach of bittle. So therefore, over there, the Ein Sof could be manifested. V'zeu inyan akdamas nasel nishma. That was the concept of Nasa Nishma. What's Nasa Nishma? Shopchinas ha-bittel. Shemevatel ritzoyne mikol v'kol. Ke'ilu ein lo yiratzen b'fnei atzmoi. Rak sheyirtze kol ma shiratzen al yem baruch hu. The concept of Nasa before Nishma is this concept of bittel. I don't have, he says Ke'ilu because it's I don't have my own will. Yirtze. Kol ma shiratzen al yem baruch hu. Why he says Ke'ilu? Because he's recognizing the struggle in this. To say a person has no ratzon, I mean, if you need an avodah, it's the avodah of Nasav and Nishma to be able. They reached a moment where they said, "What does Nasav and Nishma mean? I don't have to hear what the tzivui is. I don't have to hear what the mitzvah is. The two ritzonos become completely aligned. My will is your will, because my very will is really one with you. There's no separation at all. That's the idea.
They gave up their independence.
In a good way.
Yeah.
That's what we call avodah. It says va'oisei avodah. Pasuk says in Parshas Re'eh, you should serve him. Va'oisei avodah. He says, what's the word avodah? This is very heavy. Sha'eved ein leideya b'fnei atzmai, rakas hashayomer Rabbi oisa. The Eved, it's not pshat. He has a deya b'fnei atzmai, his own mindset. He's talking about the quintessential Eved. Rather, es hashayomer Rabbi oisa. He does what his master says. The definition of the Eved is, as the Gemara says, Yad Eved ki Yad Rabbi. It's an extension of the hand of his master. Umashakona Eved kana Rabbi. The Rashba says in Kiddushin Chav Gimel, it's not pshat. The Eved acquires something and then his master acquires it. That's not pshat. L'chatchila mashakona Eved kana Rabbi. It's like an extension of you. It's like your hand. My hand acquires the money and then it goes to me. Then it goes. No, the hand is part of the body. Now we have to qualify something. This is not a. There's slavery in a very negative sense. We know that. The Torah didn't want people to be slaves. Avodai atem v'lo yavodim la'avodim. And if you wanted to remain, you were pierced. like we learned in Parshas Mishpatim, yeah? Because it depends who you're an eved to. Who you're an eved to, right? If you're an eved to your addictions and you say, I have no metzias but addiction. No, that's the greatest curse in life. You have no metzias. So the word avdus, we're allergic to. Avodas Hashem. I don't want to be a slave. I've been a slave my whole life. I want to be set free. Yeah. Here you're talking about why taka avoday heim v'lo avoday. The pasuk says you're my slaves. You're not slaves to other slaves. Why is that such a nice thing? It's like I'll tell you. By the way, you can't get hired by anybody. You're already my slave. I don't want to be anybody's slave. I don't want to be anybody's slave.
Slave really means like an extension.
Huh? Oh. You do want to be one. If you could be a slave for infinity, if you could be an extension of infinity, that's the ultimate freedom. In other words, it's who you are.
Is it more than that? Because it's like you have a freedom on one hand, so you can do whatever you want. But if you really love Ribbon Shalom, you will do it.
Right. And
That's the.
yeah.
That's the.
Yeah.
It's beyond that word. It's your true manifestation of what you really become.
Yeah. And the word eved is the pshat that it's not I have my rotzen, but my boss tells me something, and I know my boss is smart, and I even know my boss likes me. Yeah. My boss loves me. Yeah. Your wife tells you to do something, you don't understand it, you don't feel it, you're not in the mood. But you know, bini yisera nitna be'isha. He's not used to this marshal. Nobody else is laughing. This happens all the time. It's fine.
It happens every day. You gotta laugh at it.
It's fine. Laugh. If you laugh here, you won't cry there. Bini yisera nitna be'isha. You know your wife is smart. She cares. You listen. Yeah. That's it's good. You could say it loud. So that's about today. It's no question. I have different voices in me. And I choose to follow a voice. The word of the Eved that he's teaching here is Nasav and Nishmas Ki'ilu Ein Lo Ratzon B'Fnei Atzma. The alignment is so deep that lechatchila. That's what bittle is. In other words, bittle is the opposite of repression. Real bittul is that my desire, lechatchila, what is my ratzon? My ratzon is the ratzon of Ein Sof. That is my ratzon. That's the ultimate bittul.
In Merkava is higher than...
Yeah, it's al derech Merkava, the same nekuda. He's teaching that was the Nasav and Nishma.
It could be that it was hard for them, they didn't have their own mitzvahs, they still said Nasav and Nishma. It doesn't have to mean this.
Okay, he's teaching that was Hakdamas Nasal and Nishma. Hakdamas Nasal and Nishma is not just, I know you're the boss and whatever you say I'll do. It's a much deeper word. Nishma means, I have to understand. Nasa means, my ratzon is your ratzon. Your will is my will. But Mela Nasa. So I don't have to know the pratim and the understanding of it, because your ratzon is my ratzon.
So it's shaykh to say Nasav and Nishma without this high level.
That's how he's explaining the Nasav and Nishma. Vaydei sheikdimu b'chinas Nasa, but through the Hakdama of Nasa, shehu bittul zeh yuchaliyas v'nishma. Now they can be v'nishma. Dainu lekabel hagili v'oir mein sof baruch. They would never be able to hear Ein Sof if there was no Nasa. That's the word. Different Nasav and Nishma. Usually you type Nasav and Nishma, I'll do. And then you'll explain yourself later. You don't need to just tell me, give me a list, and I don't have to know before, and you don't have to make negotiations and deals with me. I'm in. I don't know what to expect. I don't know the Taryag Mitzvah. It's fine. Which is a big thing. It's not a small thing. The word here is that the Nasa brought the Nishma. There couldn't be a real Nishma without the Nasa. Because Nishma is not just, I'm going to understand. Nishma is much more. I'll be able to hear you. What allowed them to be able to have the Nishma, the Gili of Ein Sof? It's a deeper taich in Nasa and Nishmas. Nasa is the complete bittul, the complete alignment with Ein Sof. Avodas Hashem, that Yad Evet Ki Yad Rabbi. It's not that there's my day and then there's your day and I'm going to be mavatal my day to your day. That's also called bittul, but that's not the bittul he's talking about it, because that's not real bittul. I mean, it's a nice thing. Here he's talking about the alignment, the fusion.
That won't help you here.
That won't help you here. Yeah.
This bittle.
Yeah. Because over there, you're busy crushing something. Over there, you're busy crushing something.
Empty it out.
I open myself up. I redefine the self as an extension of Ein Sof. So you say, what's my ratzon in life? It's a very humbling moment, but it's a very liberating moment. There's no dissonance anymore between me and me. There's no dissonance between me and me. There's no dissonance between my external self and my infinite self. But for this can work only with Ein Sof. If it works with a tyrant, then by definition there's a dissonance because your whole self is going to revolt against it. That's why God says, Avada, hey, make sure you're my Eved. Make sure you're not anybody else's Eved. It's almost cynical. I'm the only one who knows how to take care of slaves. Really? That's what all dictators say. Under me, you'll be good. And that's what Chazal say, Avada Yehem. Shtori koidem, my deed comes first. Rashi says, my deed, I signed first. I bought you first. Thank you. I don't want you and I don't want you. I was by Paroi, now I come to you. I don't need avdus. But what's Pshat Avodas Hashem? Avodas Hashem is, I identify myself according to the truest self, which is what? A manifestation of infinity in this world. Does that make you freer? Or more enslaved, more emancipated? Does it make you more fearful or less fearful? More confident, less confident? More wholesome, less wholesome? More secure, less secure? More holistic or less holistic? Or more fragmented? More resentful or more liberated?
Not what you're meant to be. You were made that.
Which by definition is liberation.
What I don't understand is I see in Yiddishkeit, a lot of people is out there doing everything. Like they're not Sevenish, but they're robots. What happened? What happened to the Nasa? What happened to the Nishma?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Nasa. Sometimes I don't see any Nishma.
But according to what we're saying, it's not even NASA. So a robot is a different thing. Okay, listen, there's different places where people are in. He's trying to open us up to what happened by Matan Torah.
I'm just, I want to be able to do it without becoming a robot.
This is the opposite of being a robot.
A lot of people don't try that.
It's the most, a robot by definition is you're passive. This is the most proactive experience. Emptying myself out from every level of expectation that is not aligned with my true infinity, including Ratzon.
Can you have a slavery to the tradition?
How many desires do you have in life?
Millions every day.
Millions every day. But what's your real desire? Ratzon is desire.
How can you have a desire to be one?
Desire to have no desire.
The reason he says Ke'ilu is because the word is that not that you don't have a Ratzon. If you don't have a Ratzon, then you're not a person. It's that your Ratzon mirrors the Ein Sof. So it's Ke'ilu. When you have something being reflected I just understood. When you have a Ratzon being reflected in you have a mirror, right? And the mirror is reflecting something. There are two things. You could take a picture, but you're going to say Ke'ilu, there's nothing else because it's just a reflection of that. That's what he's saying. He's not saying you don't have a Ratzon. What are you saying, Nasa? Nasa, we're going to do it. Who's we? We're talking about people. People have a Metzias, they have a Ratzon. A person is Ratzon, a person is desire. And desire is I. I know in texting you could say love without I, want without the I, want to go. But you would fail your English classes. I desire, I want.
First Nasa and then Nasa. Nasa by itself is very dangerous because it could be dogmatic. So I'll do whatever it is. I'm in. Don't need to explain.
Depends who.
So, but Nasa and Nishma, Nasa, that I will do. But Nishma, I will not.
Doesn't depend why, depends who.
Why are you doing what Shem said? Because you want to get something out of it, or because you want to do it?
That's already levels, but I'm saying then Nasa is not.
He seems to be saying that bittle, he's equating bittle and nasa.
Yeah.
It's not bittle until it's articulated as an action. If I'm in your bittle,
Yeah.
it's not. I'm sitting with my eyes closed on top of a mountain, and I'm doing mevatel myself. It's meaningless until there's an us.
Yeah. Because that sometimes is the deepest yeshus. When I'm sitting on the mountain, I'm being mavatal myself, it's sometimes the deepest yeshus. The deepest separation. Sometimes the feeling of oneness could be the deepest separation. I don't know, but I know it's true. I don't know, but I know it's true.
One for yourself versus
You have
one
to
with
need
the
the
No,
right.
because you're doing something totally yourself.
It just, you see it. It's like a form of, it could be a form of narcissism, of the spiritual enlightenment. You know, like your spirituality becomes avodah zarah. Huh? Somebody told me that he was, he's close to a Buddhist, a very enlightened fellow, a spiritual guy. And he respects him. He's a wise man. And he's also one of the, he's a guru in psychology and areas of therapy. He said he was once at a meeting of it, like some session that he did. And the man, I'm laughing, it's tragic. The man said that in life he finally has embraced himself. It takes years to embrace yourself, to really be comfortable with yourself. Which was impressive, because it's true. How many years does it take to really accept who you are? Many people never do. They're always running after somebody else and something else to really make peace with who you are. And it's all internal. Nobody even knows it. But you could see it on somebody's face if they're at peace with themselves or they're not at peace with themselves. So this was very promising, and how for decades he struggled and to really find himself and embrace himself and just forgive himself and accept himself and be there. And now what was the nasa? There's always a nasa. So he said, and as a result, he realized that it's time for him to get divorced from his wife and 5 kids.
Is this the Buddhist master?
This was the master. This was the nasa. So what's the nasa is? Because I'm not being true to myself. Kids are headaches, and especially your teenagers are growing up, real headaches. Small kids, small problems, big kids, big problems. The spouse, I'm not going to describe what he felt she was. But certainly she's not on my journey. It's not part of this. And for him, this was the peak of spiritual oneness.
They can't be a Buddhist in the first place because they're celibate. They were married.
He wasn't a Buddhist, the Dalai Lama level. He was a Buddhist American level. A Balchuva Buddhist, an American. It's about the point of the story. It's not about who this guy is. And this person told me, he said, when he heard it, he realized the bankruptcy of it. And he meant it. He's a nice guy. He's not a cruel, egotistical. Fakert. I'm sure the divorce settlement will be the most benign and then soft and kind, and there'll be tears, and there'll be also compassion. But at the core of it all, there's no bittle. It's ich, but disguised as bittle, disguised as enlightenment and oneness. He's one with the universe. You know that.
That's not Buddhism. That's the same.
He's one with the universe, but he can't be one with his child. My child is not the universe. With the universe, I'm one, for sure. But now my kid needs to do homework. I can't be one with that. That's a headache. The universe, I'm one with, no question. The ultimate I, in spirit, but couched in spiritual vocabulary, very spiritual vocabulary. And you'll see it. He's probably a very, very nice person. And I'm sure the homeless person, the way he treats him, probably the homeless guy is lucky. But in terms of commitment, real commitment, whoa. You're going to take me out of my little enlightened comfort zone? Huh? Precious in Yiddishkeit is never the same thing. Real precious in Yiddishkeit, if somebody's in a relationship, it must be with the partnership of the other person. If it's just my own journey, which sacrifices other people, where's the enlightenment? How can you even live with that pain? Talk about guilt. Forget the guilt. How can you live with that pain? I'm not saying there's no metzias where sometimes, unfortunately, a marriage is not working. I'm not discussing that. But that's not... I came to the deepest spiritual enlightenment, and that's it. My wife is not on my journey. And if you're not on my journey, you're out. Done. My kids are certainly not on my journey. But you're their father. Like so what's missing over there? What's missing over there is they say there was a Buddhist monk who, when he was starving, he didn't eat for 10 years. He was in Borough Park, so he went into the hot dog stand on 13th Avenue. So everybody's there with hot dogs. This guy says, make Rabashkins, yeah. So he says, well, this one is it, make me one with sauerkraut, with ketchup, with pickles. And he says, make me one with everything. The story is over. Make me one with everything. Then it came time to pay, so he gave $20. Now you're a Buddhist, you don't speak a lot. So he gives $20, the Jew takes it and puts it in the registry. So he's standing there. So after 5 minutes, the Jew says, what are you standing there silently? He says, change. The Jew looks at him and he says, change happens inside. Okay. So it's all good, but the nasa is the articulation of the bittle. So what does real bittle mean? Real bittle means if you're part of Ein Sof, then what it really means, I don't have my own ratzon. So you say, but I do have my own ratzon. Okay. But the moment of truth is when I could say, I don't have my own ratzon, or at least the voice that tells me that I have my own ratzon is not the ultimate voice. There's a Jew that doesn't feel he has another ratzon, but we're not trying. And that's also the Ke'ilu. Really what he means by the Ke'ilu is my ratzon mirrors the Ein Sof's ratzon. So it's Ke'ilu, there's no other ratzon, because it's a reflection of one. Because not like there's no person. There's a person with ratzon, but my ratzon is a reflection.
I'm not sure of if the destination is at the end of the river, and you're up here at the top of the river, and you want to get down there, and you jump in the river, and then the flow of the river takes you down to where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Alter Rebbe teaches there's no nishma without nasa. You know why? You're going to hear what you want to hear. Nishma means you don't hear what you want to hear, you hear the truth. To be able to hear the truth, there has to be a bittle. If not, you'll never hear the truth. You'll always hear things based on your own subjective interpretation, which is nice. But with Ein Sof, it doesn't have a shaykhis to it. If you remember the story I told you then about with Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, right? When he told the person how ugly you are. And he said, oh, go to my master. Suddenly he discovered he has a craftsman. Or the story with the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Lubavitch Rebbe, told the Jew, I can't help you. So he broke down sobbing, and then he called him back in. Why? There's no nishma. There can't be a nishma. Without the real bittul, you hear things, just like we know in psychology, you'll forgive a mashal, there's 3,000 mashalim for everything. And some of you will relate to this very well. If you're wounded, and you don't believe that you're lovable, you can't hear the words, I love you. Even if somebody tells it to you, you will distort it in your mind. This is something we see. People who are very wounded inside, it affects their relationship so profoundly because they are essentially suspicious of anybody who shows them love, and they want to know what's their agenda, because you must hate me. There's no question. The fact that it doesn't look like it only means your hatred is so deep that you're manipulating me so profoundly. Some of you understand what I'm saying? This is a very serious condition because it's very, very deep. And the more you love me, the more you become my enemy. Because at least if you would tell me the truth that you hate me, we could be friends. But you're not telling me the truth. You're lying to me, because you're for sure lying, because I'm not something that's lovable. It's all subconscious. So what's happening now? So there's two people living in completely different worlds. One person is really innocent. They try to connect to you. And the more they connect to you, emotionally, the more you reject them. And it all has to do with who I am. Nothing to do with the other person. I'm too wounded. I believe I'm damaged goods. I'm trying to bring out how distorted a nishma could be when you're not in the bright place. This is in a distorted way, but even in the most wholesome way, how could you hear Ein Sof? Unless I can cleanse myself from everything. And what's the deepest thing and challenge is ratzon, desire. Because everything comes back to I want. Ratzon is who I am. This is what I want. That's why it's keser. It's Hokhmah. It's beyond Hokhmah. This is who I want. When I could say, what's my ratzon? My Ratzon is the Ein Sof. If it's an internal experience, if it's real, there could be an inyan of Nishma. That's Nasa v'Nishma. Ach kadesha yavoyu lebchinas bittle zed hagdam. Sorry, parentheses. V'zeu shekastru lem shnei ksarim keneged Nasa v'Nishma. That's why the Gemara says that they gave the Jews 2 crowns, Nasa and Nishma. Shein b'chinas shnei amadreges hanal shebekeser, ha'bchina halyayin nikra kadmoiner shaloylam, v'bchina hashenis nikra soiv klam and amalekla. There were 2 crowns that were given, Nasa and Nishma. One is represented by Kadmoiner Shaloilam, which is Keser, which is beyond Hokhmah of Atzilus, and one is the second level, which he called Soivav and Mamali, which is already infinity, the way it's relatable to the worlds. 2 crowns. One is infinity that transcends identity, and one is infinity that infuses identity. You understand the difference? Huh? Okay. But Soivav Mamali is infinity that infuses identity. Like the subconscious, Mamali is the consciousness, but real consciousness, ultimate consciousness. Ultimate consciousness, divine consciousness. Soivav is like the subconscious, which you don't have kalim for, because it's too infinite, but it's the infinity that is the essence of your personality. It's just too big. And then there's Kadmoiner Shaloilam, which is pure infinity, transcends identity. And each one has its place in life. There's moments of Mamali, there's moments of Soivav, and there's moments beyond Soivav, Kadmoiner Shaloilam. Right? Yeah. So till Hokhmah, it's connected. Yeah. Okay, it's a parenthesis. I just wanted to mention. I don't want to. Let's not get carried away in all the pratim, because the nekud is the most important. In order to reach this place, it's true, he says, Golus Mitzrayim caused the Jews to be able to experience a bittle. And no one should ever know this, but the fact is that when somebody experiences a very painful experience in life, everything changes. Not that this is Chalila rationalization or justification or romanticization of pain. And it should always happen in different ways. But the fact is, pain stops people from being in denial. Sometimes people are living in an ivory tower, and then there's a curveball in life, and it opens them up. They get rid of even their spiritual egos. That's what happened in Mitzrayim, he says. That was Hachana for Nasa v'Nishma. Got it. But he says still, in Metzias Mitzrayim, they were in pain, but there was a katnos, meaning there was they were in a state of smallness because of Golus Mitzrayim. How can they reach this place within a few weeks of Nasa v'Nishma? Really, this place. What's this place? This place is you're really infinite. That's what this means. You're infinite. This is what the Gemara says, that Hashem placed the mountain over their heads. Now, right away when we learned the Gemara Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis, what's Pshat? God took a mountain, put it over their head, and said, listen, if you take Torah, good. If not, it's coming down like an elevator. Right? And I always ask the question, Matan Torah is officially our marriage. So remember the day you proposed to your Kala, right? So here's the best way to do it if you want to emulate God. You put her under an elevator shaft, and you say, listen, if you want to marry me, great. And if not, boom, the elevator's coming down on your head. And she's like, yes, I'm going to marry you. Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis. Nasa v'Nishma. Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis. So Badal Rebbe says, you know why was Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis? How could you come from katnus to such a bittle? So he says he had to take the mountain and put them over them. Shahu, what's the mountain over their head? And you got to love this interpretation. It's basically the right arm embracing me. Dahainu his galus avel yoina milmaila al Yisrael kamashakosov ahafti eschem amarasha. There was an explosion of revelation of divine love to the Jewish people, like the Malachi says, I love you, God says. Sha'avezu techapkeni l'knesses Yisrael u'makefes oisem mikol tzad afilu l'bchinas achirayim. Ad she'enei manichoi lifnois mimenu umuchrich liyis oimedi my pana bepana. You hear his words. I don't even want to translate them. The love, what's techapkeni? Yemino is love. Love embraces me? He says, yeah, there's a type of love. It's like a teddy bear hug. When somebody hugs you like this, what do? They don't let you leave. It's like you're in my grip. So again, it could be in a very, I didn't ask you to do it, so please leave me alone. But he says when it's coming from love, it's a love that embraces Knesset Yisrael, encompasses it from every angle, even the back. That's what a hug is. When I kiss you, I kiss in the cheek, or the mouth. You look at somebody, you speak to somebody, you touch somebody. What's a hug? A hug is the back. Says the Alter Rebbe says, even your back. What's that? Your back? Your back is your side that's not interested. It's in me. Your face is the seat of your personality. It's reciprocal. Achirayim is even your hind part, which means the part that may but not be interested in me. Then you say I turn my back on him. Which I turn my back on him. When somebody's talking to you and you turn your back, it means like have a wonderful day, right? So what's chibuk? He says chibuk is afilu l'bchinas achirayim. I'm going to embrace your achirayim. What's pshat? I'm not going to let you leave. So you're forced to stand with me face to face. What's forcing you? My love. I love you too much, and you simply can't resist it. You just sorry. It's like you could, but you can't. Theoretically, you could say, "But I'm not interested." Sure. It's too good. It's too good to be true. Imagine that such a presence shows up in your life that loves you in a way that is unconditional. You could turn your back 100 times. I'm not leaving you. So in a way, you're not letting me leave you. You're not letting me leave you either. If you're not leaving me, how can I leave you? It means even if I leave you, I'm not leaving you. So how can I leave you? He says that's the mountain over there. The mountain over the head was like this. It's the way it's the way Chazal are discussing God's hug, completely encompassing them from every angle. You'll turn here, you'll turn there, you'll turn your back on me. What they felt at that moment was an endless flow of love. When you feel such love, you're forced into the relationship. You're brought to another place. Huh?
By the man.
What was the negative aspect? If not, well, I'm giving you a hug. If you're going to take the Torah, if not,
There was not
if not, you felt anything else is death. Yeah, you won't feel alive. Of course, you could reject me, but this is the place where this is where you're going to feel such love. No, halavai. Jews wish that they'll be dead. Yeah, they wish that they can't be that. When a Yid is nicht kein Yid, is meshuga im Ganzen. Look at Jews, you'll see.
It still wasn't
Abaska. As usual, you're talking from memory, eh? It was such a powerful ava. The only way you can describe this is a mountain over my head. You'll forgive a mashal. If
It's the mashal.
okay,
overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
And that's something negative there.
I don't know. I wouldn't use the word negative. I don't know.
Something, but because
We'll soon see. It's not the avoid of Purim. The Maimon is going to get there. There's mountain Torah.
It's like a bear hug in Russia. The bear can jump out of the
Right. We know what a beer hug is.
and hug.
Right.
And break all the bones.
Okay. I guess that's your nishma. That's what you're hearing, huh? It's very interesting. When you hear the words kaf aleim har kegigis, right? What do you hear? The Alter Rebbe read the same Gemara like you did. But he says this is what he heard. It's back to what we discussed yesterday. You're reading words. One person hears infinite love, another person hears infinite guilt.
Why does everyone say there has to be something negative here?
Because that's called default.
Maybe it's just that.
Default is that if Judaism is too beautiful, it's pop liberal psychology. Don't you know that? Don't you know that?
Because that's how it's taught to the, in the village. It's not.
And therefore, what?
Pashup Pshat is take it or else. I mean that's how you learn it.
So now, good, very good, Reb Moshe. I'm not judging. When I say these things, I'm not judging at all.
I'm responding.
Other Hazal type shows.
Fits well.
On the other side.
But of course it means this. How can it mean anything else? How can it mean anything? I didn't ask God to create the world. I didn't ask God to write a Torah. I didn't ask God, nobody asked him to do anything. Yeah? He does this all on his own initiative, right? Creating people with big Yetzaharas. I can't talk about you, but I could talk about the speaker, which is also his creation. And then he says, and by the way, I have a Torah. Okay, if you want it, good, and if not, I kill you. Worse, I'll put the mountain over your head. You'll be buried alive. Kill you, Mela.
Wouldn't you just be buried alive in your body?
How can this resonate? How can this resonate with anybody?
The resonance was a game creator. Create the game.
It's almost sadistic. It's so weird. Like,
But then what does it mean that Hadar could be?
and there's the whole Yiddishkeit with punishments. I created you. You didn't ask for it. I gave you a big Yetzirah with Nisyonis. Yeah. I tell you, but if you fight hard enough, you'll win. And if not, by the way, the punishments will not stop. Now, and by the way, you should love me with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. And if you don't love me with all your heart and all your soul, I can't even tell you the punishments for that. Is this supposed to work?
I think the question is, why is that Pashup Pshat? Like, why are we going through this whole thing? Why do we?
That's the default. That's our default. It's called default. You know default settings? You ever do on your computer default settings? And what if your programmer didn't know what he was doing? So what's default settings? So what if my the way my brain, got this or absorbed it is with a lot of distortion. So when I go to default settings, boom. When somebody hears this pshat, they're like, oh, here we go. Whoa.
Why Purim? They give them.
But we'll soon get to Purim. Halt bei Matan Torah. Far Purim. It's nicht Purim, far Matan Torah. Yeah. But doesn't it resonate much more to say that God, who's purely infinite, the whole Torah, the whole world, the whole creation, the whole Yiddishkeit, is about a desire for the deepest form of love and connection and relationship and happiness and wholesomeness and opportunity? Every aspect of it from beginning to end? As I said in my Emunah Shurim a few times, don't treat God better than your mother and father, just like your mother and father. Imagine your mother tells you, by the way, I have this challenge for you, okay? I created this challenge in the house, and it's going to be very hard to pass, but if you don't pass it, the punishments are unbelievable. And not only in this world for sure, next world as well. Oh, and by the way, you have no choice because I'm going to kill you if you don't accept it. You're going to tell this, what type of mother is this?
You have to go backwards to before when it was perfect and we messed it up. It didn't start out like
I'm not talking about Gan Eden now. I'm talking about the way a person understands this. Let's see what he says. Why is it called kafa, forced? That's the deepest force in the world. What do you think force means? Force means I chain you up. That's not force. Compelled. The deepest force in the world is when you have no choice. When I chain you to the tree, Your first choice, you're running away. The first moment you could scream and the police could rescue you, you're gone. What's real force? Kafa is forced. What's forced? You can't get away. I captured your soul. How could you get away? There's too much love here. You're not going to find us anywhere. He says that he wasn't shy. That's his word. Theoretically, somebody says, if a lion comes in, to the room, right? Are you going to get scared? Theoretically, you could say, well, you have a choice how to respond, but we all know we don't have a choice how to respond. We don't have a choice how to respond. Now, forgive our opposite, Marshall. Those of you who have tivus, right? If you see certain images, do you have a choice how to respond? Theoretically, yeah, but you know your body, you know how you work, you're going to have a certain experience. So when you're exposed, that's the tragedy when kids are exposed at a certain age to certain things, they don't have a choice then, and they become addicted. Yeah. When you're exposed to a certain reality, you get swept in. Now, in the most positive sense, what he's saying is, when you're exposed to God's infinite love, you're just swept in. What is it? Love sweeps you away. What's the expression? Swept off your feet. They were swept off their feet and like, OMG, this is awesome. And they sent WhatsApp statuses and like, we're in. He says, it's not pshat he loved. This love triggered the same type of love in the Jewish soul. Until they reach this place where there's no I outside of you. They could reach Nasav Nishma. What's Nasav Nishma? Not that I'm going to do what you say. That I have no other Ratzin than your Ratzin. This is my ultimate self. This is my truest self. What does it mean they saw God's love? What is this love they saw? They saw themselves in their deepest way. What does love help you see? Love helps you see yourself in a new way, right? Why do we like to be loved? Anybody? Huh? You don't have to all answer at once. But real love means that you could see yourself in a different way. That's why I told you, if you see yourself as damaged goods, I could tell you I love you 1,000,000,000 times, and all you feel is, I must hate you because I'm lying to you. We say every day, Avas olam ahaftanu Hashem Elokeinu. Gedenkst? Huh? So the exercise today, Rabbi say, is by Shachris, and if you daven already, you'll do it by Ma'ariv. Yeah? Is when you say Avas olam ahaftanu, even though the chazan is in a big rush, you should stop for 25 seconds, take a breath, and actually think that it's about you. That right now you're talking to Hashem and you're like, you love me with eternal love. And as I told somebody, they say, why do you talk about love? It's not part of Yiddishkeit. I said, I didn't know there's any other part of Yiddishkeit. They said, where did you get this from? I said, you'll read the bracha Avas Olam that Anshe Knesset Agdolim made. I didn't write that bracha. I didn't even amend the text, by the way. And even if you're an Ashkenazi, right? Somebody sent me a clip yesterday, right? They sent from Israel because of the coronavirus. And they said, no more hugging in Israel. No more kissing. Yeah. No more embracing each other. Yeah. No more because of the coronavirus. This is to the Sfardim. Ashkenazim could continue as usual. So, which is not bad. Even if you're an Ashkenazi, so you don't say Avas Olam. Instead, you know what you say? And Avarabo. Okay? So that's for the Kalta Ashkenazim. For the Kalta Litvakes, you don't say Avas Olam. You say Avarabo, which means much more. You know how many times the word love is mentioned in that bracha? Huh? 7 times. 7 times the word love is mentioned. If I would say that in one bracha, you would say the guy is abyssal this. They put it 7 times the word love in that blessing. Plus they made sure the first word is Ahavas Olam, and the last word is Haboicher Ba'ama Yisrael Ba'ava. Whoa. In other words, the whole bracha is sandwiched between 2 loves. Avas oilam ba'ava with another 5 times in the middle, because they knew only then could you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and the next line is V'haftas Hashem Elokech. Oh, now you could love God. That's called compelled. Compelled doesn't mean compelled, chained. That's not, chained is external. You force somebody, your boss forces you to do something at work, yeah? You resent him forever. You go to therapy and you talk to the therapist what a horrible guy is. You come home and you tell your wife what a this is. You weren't forced. Your external actions were forced. That's not kaffa. Kaffa means they were really forced. Only one way. They just saw too much love.
So if this is such a beautiful love thing,
I love the big, you don't even have to finish your question. I love it. If this is such a beautiful love thing, Rabbi, why? What are you smoking? That's what you want to know? You want to know what I smoke in the morning?
why did the Torah use this solution? The Torah knows such a beautiful love. You don't need.
It's a good, why not use a love language, right?
Look at how much love that they know about it.
He loved you so much, he was ready to.
In fact, the only safety that we have, shir, everybody's busy. This is really just a muscle and an insult. It don't mean anything literally. Chas v'sholom.
Say when it's love, then I say it's love.
Maybe that's why.
Let's say if your child has an infection and you have the antidote, he doesn't want to take it, what are you going to do?
You live in the world.
You have to make him want to take it, otherwise he'll spit it out.
So I hope you'll internalize today's exercise, yeah? Avas Olam, 25 seconds. If you do it 3 minutes, we won't sue you. Take a deep breath and breathe it in. Everybody have a very loving day. Tomorrow there'll be a shir.
And Sunday also?
Sunday I'm in Florida, but Monday there'll be a shir also. Shabbos I'm in Miami, but tomorrow there'll be a shir and Bli Neder Monday morning as well. But tomorrow is regular time.
I'll add another third one.
You're asking a good question. We'll see tomorrow. They'll see the Hamshach of the Maimer. The reason is because that was the Chiddush of Purim. You have to erase the old CD. I'm sorry to say. You got to take out Control, Alt, Delete, take out the old CD and put in a new one. Don't put in a new one. At least open yourself up that there's a different CD.
But old CD, when it says love, it's not like... You know that they hang. Building a bridge.
Rabbi Isaac has verstanden? That's why he calls it forced. When you see such an explosion of love, you have a choice theoretically, but Lepoyel, you're just... it's too good to be true. When you experience somebody loving you like this, how could you resist it? Unless you're crazy. Unless you're really damaged. They weren't that damaged. That's why when people don't know that there's such love in the world, they think that you call it brainwashed. You understand? We lose out on life. We lose out on life. Because how could people be so swept up unless they were brainwashed or they were forced or they're in a cult? It's true, but maybe sometimes it's not that way. Maybe they're experiencing something. It can be. No, everybody's brainwashed. It's our way of not dealing with anything we don't want to deal with and not growing into anything we want to grow into.
So now you want to say it was an experience of a feeling. Is it a muscle?
Of course it's a muscle. Of course it's a muscle.
The fact that the Hokhmah is muscle.
It's a hug. It's a divine teddy bear hug.
Hokhmah is muscle means the extra love.
That's Parcha Nishmasan. Parcha Nishmasan means I don't have my own identity. My soul is your soul. I cease to be separate. I am an extension of infinity. Now it's not easy this, because I want to be me. Because I don't want to be me really. Because me, I am infinite.
You see that a hug takes a certain amount of bittle.
Of course. Try to hug somebody, you'll see they will. When people hug, you're not supposed to go like this. They hug you, they start bang. Because that's like patronizing. No, so you're a good guy. You're a little baby. I'll take care of you. No. That's not a hug. That's like you're a good guy. A real hug, you hug, and you melt away in the experience. You got to teach the FFBs how to hug.
You don't teach us Fardim.
Dashkenazik.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.